Alright, so it is NBT SKY with another numerology report. I skipped a few of my readings and numerology reports to do this because it's quicker. But anyway, right? How you know? It's me. Hello, deuces. Listen. Trump is now the president. There's nothing nobody can do about it at this particular moment. So Trump is the president. So I decided that I was going to look to see what the United States and some of the other countries, how would it move around. So when we're looking at the United States of America, abbreviated as the USA, you have it in the 5, which is Mercury. When we're looking at the entire name, the United States of America, is breaking down into 3, which brings you into Jupiter, and 1. So to get to the answer to this question, I ended up adding the broken down numbers to get like an overall energy of 7. So we got this Uranus and Neptune energy, right? Now we're looking at Russia, and Russia comes down in 6. Japan comes down in 6. So they kind of have very similar energies, and this is a Venus energy. But before I get into that, I'm just giving you a brief before I break this down. The South Korea and Ukraine, they come down in Uranus and Neptune, so they air and water energies, right? So now let's look at this 5 up here, which it actually reappears down here. But we're gonna talk about the 5 as in Mercury. If we're dealing with tarot. For those who like to watch my tarot reads, I'm gonna just deal with the major arcanas. We talked about the Magician, and the Magician lands in Gemini, which is interesting because Trump is a Gemini, right? So I was looking where Mercury, this Gemini energy, lands between the 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. for what I was told, because I wasn't paying attention, is that all of the votes came in around 2 a.m. or something like that, right? But the overall is his mentality, or the mentality of the country, the expression and communications. Now, remember, the United States is, one of the primary communicators between other major world powers, especially when conflict is taking place, and so on and so forth. Now, the United States of America, which is landing in this high frequency of the 3, and the mid frequency of 3, and in this low frequency of the sun. So if we're looking at the sun in the lower frequency, let's look at it like the sun is setting. So all cannot be seen, but there's things is known, or all is not known, or there's secrets or information that the United States or has an advantage usually at all times, or that's the position the United States wants to be in, where we have information technology, ways to communicate, ways to get things done that we know, but everybody else don't know about, right? So when you're looking at Jupiter, you're looking at this a Sagittarius energy. You're dealing with the wheel, and when we talk about the United States, is good fortune, good luck. That's the energy that the president should be trying to keep the country in. Let's say that, right? We talk about the philosophies, visions, religions, faiths, all of that. These are the things that make the United States different, because we are like meshed up in a way. There's all different types of races, colors, creeds, religions, spiritual beliefs, beliefs on how one should live versus. So we are controversial in that way, let's say. Now when you get into the sun, you're dealing with this Leo energy, this strength, and so the United States of America always tries to wield this strength. Then you have Trump in office, who likes to wield his power, wield his strength, and so he kind of, let's say, in the zodiacs and in the numbers, kind of match that a little bit. So moving right along, this Uranus Neptune energy, that's Aquarius for the air, and we dealing with the Fool and the Hangman in this situation. Now, air and water. So when we're dealing with the Aquarius, you're dealing with friends and social groups and long-term goals, right? Mind you, this is matching here, okay? Friends and social groups and long-term goals. Now, we know that this is one of the narratives that Trump pushes, is that, he has a strong social circle, strong friendships, powerful friendships that will, keep United States as number 1. So if still falls into place, mind you, it would be a good idea for the focus with this with South Korea and Ukraine, to have these same type of social strengths, let's say, or powers, let's say. So now when we're getting into the other aspect of Uranus and Neptune, when we're getting into the water, we're talking about the Pisces, right? And so you talk about confinement, hospitals, institutions, the subconscious mind, secrets, and hidden activities. Now, that was all a part of the presidential run, right? Dealing with the minds of people, dealing with the institutions, dealing with, programming, people feeling like, oh, we being misled or we not being spoke to honestly. And so there's a programming going on, dealing with the subconscious mind, there's secrets. And even amongst these right here, there are secrets. It's things Russia's not telling, Japan's not telling, South Korea's not telling, and Ukraine is not telling, period. They are gung-ho on not shedding any light on their secrets one way or the other. That's just the bottom line of it all. So let's look at some of the similarities in the situation. Outside of that, let's keep in mind, I don't have to go over this twice, because South Korea and Ukraine have a matching energy, just like Russia and Japan has a matching energy of the 6. They have a matching energy of the 7, and this is why I ended up kind of having to break it down a little bit more. Alright, so because of that, I'm looking at Russia and Japan. They together, if you break them down, they have the ability to match in the mid-frequency, a high-end mid-frequency Jupiter, the same energy. So these two powers really have the ability to wield this kind of the same way as the United States. They are just as powerful. If you put them together, they are like mind, like interest, and I wouldn't be surprised if there would be some support there. Whether they gonna tell everybody or not is a whole nother story. I didn't really get to look into it. Now, when I was looking into South Korea and Ukraine, and I saw that this was like a pattern where South Korea and Ukraine, they kind of have the same thing going on, right? The 7 and the 7, the 7 and the 7, the 0 to 0. So I'm looking, I'm like, well, what are the chances that South Korea would support Ukraine? I looked it up while I was doing it, and so it says 2 days prior to when I started doing this numerology report that South Korea was kind of caught giving weaponry or support to Ukraine. And so I'm not surprised here when you talk about that. So if we're gonna look at this 5 here, we're gonna look at it in water and air. So this 5 of swords, this 5 of cups. So we ready, get together, handle situations. Meanwhile, when you put these two together, you get this 10 and this 1, this sun energy. The 1, bring the new beginnings, but we're looking at the sun still in the lower frequency. So there's things that they know that they may not even want to share. The thing that's going to be interesting is China. I was going to add China, so instead of adding it to the board, what I did was did something real quick. I looked at China and Russia. China is in the 8, Russia is in the 6. You put them together, they're in the 5. Okay, China and Japan is in the 6, China is in the 8, 14 and 5. So Russia and Japan, of course, they're gonna come out the same. South Korea and Ukraine, when you put China with South Korea or China with the Ukraine, you get the 15 and the 6. So at the end of the day, if there was a need to try to shift energy when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, Putin is not so easy to push over or to change. It probably would be a best bet, and I'm not no political professional, it's just NBT SKY talking, that the United States kind of pressed upon getting South Korea and the Ukraine to kind of shift a little bit to get an agreement going. If the United States gets skip them. If the United States get Ukraine to kind of shift in a way where Russia is willing to bend, then it'll be easier for the United States to get Russia to kind of come to an agreement and bend. So this is what I was looking at now that Trump is in office. And so I guess we'll see in the future how it rocks. So far, South Korea has supported the Ukraine according to the news, and that was on Google. So let's get this clear. I'm not saying it's a fact. I'm not saying it's fiction. So let's see how Trump gets the Ukraine and Russia to act right. Anyway, it is me, NBT SKY. We'll see you all later. Deuces and smooches. Oops, and I dropped my magic wand. Nah, alright. I love y'all. Bye.